This week is amazing for me because I've managed to make a video of 3 unique cars from BYD company. The first was Denza Z9 GT. Here is the video for this car. The second was BYD Leopard 5, exactly this blue car. And today we have the BYD Yangwang U8, which is actually entered the market much earlier than both of these cars. And it is one of the most expensive cars in China for the current day. And the technology of this car, despite being quite close to this car and Denza Z9 GT, is actually very unique for BYD as well. Just to make you curious and make you watch this video till the end, I will tell shortly the specification of this car. It has 1200 horsepower, it has 4 electric motors, it has 3.5 tons of carb weight, and acceleration from 0 to 100 is just 3.3 seconds. Let's start detailed review. Let's start from the technology because it's the most interesting part of this car. Just 2 videos ago I told something stupid and I told that BYD doesn't make the sequential hybrid. Actually, it's very stupid. This car is Leopard 5. It's a parallel hybrid which uses both electric motor and the internal combustion engine to transfer through a planetary gear torque to the front wheels. In this car, we don't have anything like that. Here we have the 4 independent motors. This technology is called E4 by BYD. Each wheel has its own electric motor, and by the way, it allows the car to make the tank turn on the one place. And under the hood, we have the 2.0 turbocharged engine with aluminum block, aluminum head of cylinders with power 272 horsepower. And this engine is in no way connected with the wheels. This engine is used here just as an electric generator to charge the battery of the car. This is actually called a sequential hybrid, and it's very not typical technology for BYD, despite there are brands like Huawei and Auto from Huawei and Lixiang which use only this technology. From other features under this hood, we have the heat pump system, we have a lot of tanks for cooling liquid for the battery, for the engine, and so on. Other things are quite typical for any hybrid.
I feel good, you look great, I like you, I can't wait. A first time, a first date, you're so fine, I'm so late. You sip wine.
Now it's time to tell you that it's not the typical U8 which you probably seen on hundreds of videos in your TikTok or YouTube. The U8 entered the market in 2023 with the deluxe luxury version, but this is the 2024, the newest off-road version. This car has a little bit lower equipment from the factory, despite you can add some options, and the deluxe version almost doesn't have any options at all. And this car is aimed at dealing with off-road. Here we have the R20 BFG wheels without any alternative. This is all-terrain tires. We have only 2 body colors, this green color and also the black color. By default, we have a little worse equipment, but we have much better capabilities on the off-road. For example, the depth of the ford this car can deal with is 1,400 millimeters. So it's somewhere up to here, of course, with the help of this snorkel, which has the air intake right here. But those people who know something about this car will ask me, what the hell are you talking about? Why this car need to deal with some fords if it can actually swim? Yes, this car can swim, and you have seen probably hundreds of videos how this car deals with swimming. But the manufacturer, the BYD, said that it is just an emergency function. It's not the target function of this car. It's not an amphi car for sure. When you try to swim with BYD U8, the car will stop the internal combustion engine, the car will close the intake of the air conditioning system, the car will use only electric power, the car will close all the windows here, but it will open the panoramic sunroof in the deluxe version. In this version we don't have any panoramic sunroof, by the way. And you can do it, you can swim in this car only for about 30 minutes in case of emergency, in case of flood, in case of something else. And after that, you have to go to the manufacturer's service department to check if everything is okay with this car. So basically, this function is the side result of how well this car built, how high IP we have in all the electrical joints, in battery pack, in motor joints with wheels and so on, in the gearbox joint and in the gearbox itself and so on. It's not the target function of this car. Also, only this off-road version possesses this ladder, which you can use to travel to the rooftop rack, which you can use for example, transporting something on your roof, or you can mount a tent there, and it will be very convenient to go upstairs. There is an alternative to this roof rack. It's a drone system. The drone installed to this to another roof rack. They are not compatible together, and this drone will have some options like following the car, will have the option to land on the car automatically, and so on. The price of this drone is, by the way, about 15,000 United States dollars. This is the LED panel, which indicates some useful information when the car is being charged, or in some other regimes and situations. And in terms of body, it's a traditional frame-based large off-road SUV with the length of more than 5.3 meters and the wheelbase more than 3 meters. Now we go to the interior of this car, and here we have the lowest actually suspension level. I made it to film this car in a more convenient way. Here we have the multi-layer soundproof glass in all the windows of this car. Here we have the sapele wood from Africa, the natural imported wood, and of course it's a premium interior. Here we have the premium Napa leather. It's not the same Napa leather which you can meet in the car for $30,000 or $40,000. Here we have the massage, ventilation and heating of the front seats, but for the rear seats, massage in this off-road version we need to order extra. In the deluxe version it is by default. And by the way, as this car can swim, I have always wondered what is special we have in the door sealing to protect from water from going inside, and actually there is nothing special. It's just normal door sealants made from rubber. Here we have the same, so they just meet each other, but nothing extra special. But the body is very precise, and if all the windows are closed, it's relatively difficult to close the door. Despite we have here, of course, the electric suction doors, so in this way it's not difficult to close the door at all, but we don't have the electric servo drive of the doors like in several much cheaper cars, for example Zeekr 001. We are now in the interior of BYD Yangwang U8, and here I found a lot of contradictory moments which I personally didn't like. First of all, we start to talk from the design and quality, and honestly it is not better than in Denza Z9 GT. In my opinion, it's actually worse. It's not so beautiful, not so high quality, not so many details, and Denza Z9 GT costs 3 times less than this car. Secondly, the ergonomy here in normal position is okay, it's no problem, it's typical BYD ergonomy. But if I use some higher position, for example, if I have very small height of my body and I put the driver's seat to the highest position, this is where I have the steering wheel somewhere near my knees, actually between my knees. I cannot make it higher anymore. And in terms of ergonomy, in these marginal positions, it's totally not good. It's much worse than, for example, BYD Leopard 5. I already don't have any space for my head, and at the same time the steering wheel is somewhere very low. But in this position it's quite okay, it's quite comfortable. This is the lowest position of the driver's seat, so I assume for the people with small height it will be not very convenient, and people who are very tall will only use the lowest position of the driver's seat, and maybe still they would like to sit a little bit lower. Now let's talk about the screens, and here I don't like everything as well. This screen is pretty small. It is because of the design. It's just 12.3 inches. It has this curved shape, which is very special for this car. And also we have these two screens, which are 23 point something inches of diagonal for the driver and for the passenger. But in fact, it's a little bit canny because you don't feel the screen being so big because they are covered by this design part of the front panel. So basically you don't feel actually it's large at all. But okay, this is because of design. Now we go to this wireless charger, which because of some reason doesn't have the cooling. It's not normal in 2024 in such expensive car as well, but I hope it is anyway fast charger. This central screen is very typical. It's same as in BYD Leopard 5 in terms of all the menu. It's open Android system with many app. You can install app here as well, and we have two separate apps. One is for suspension, same as in Denza, same as in Leopard 5, and also one more app for the modes of driving. Here we have 15 modes of driving. As I see, they're totally same as in BYD Leopard 5, and also we have this tongue U-turn menu, which of course I will not test on this car because this is brand new car sold to our customer. Here we have also the box, the thermo box, which can be cooled and heated, and here we do not have the very beautiful steering of this box, same as we have in Denza Z9 GT. We have to go somewhere here and do it from the central screen, which is also actually quite convenient. Here we have the glove box, which is ridiculously small. It's completely small. It's acceptable only for turned A4 in 2 times like this. And in other terms, it's just normal car with streaming rear view mirror, same as in cheaper Denza. Here we have Alcantara, very high quality, very nice, but it's okay for, of course, for this price of the car. Here we have the two sun visors, which is also okay. And in this off-road version, we do not have any panorama, despite the deluxe version has it. But of course, here we have the roof rack by default, so we could not add it for sure. Here we have the wheels for regulation of the cruise control and for the driving modes. And of course, here a lot of physical buttons. But what I'm the mostly surprised is that in some parts of this interior, we really feel this car is cheap. For example, this is just normal piano plastic, same as in BYD, for example, Yuan Up for $15,000. And here we have the cover of the fragrance system, which is extremely cheap, which is made from this plastic, and probably this part will be broken one day. And we have it here much worse than, for example, in BYD C-Line, which costs only about $23,000 or $25,000. For me, this interior in this price range is not acceptable in 2024 or 2025. So I didn't like the front row. I think it's not acceptable for that price of the car, which is about $160,000-$170,000. And to be honest, the second row I don't like as well. First of all, the this door seal is very low, and if I go here, I just hit my head. It's not very convenient to enter in this car, despite it's a large car. Secondly, here is basically nothing special. We have not so long seat cushion. This seat cushion has extra adjustment, but this is for extra money with the additional optional package for the second row, which also includes massage, includes this screen in the armrest and so on. And if we see just like this, you're feeling like in Nissan Petrol or some other old-fashioned frame-based SUV. Here, this screen here, we have the wireless charger for the mobile phone, basically nothing special as well. The floor is quite high, so here I don't feel basically super cozy, and in my opinion even the BYD Leopard 5 is a little bit more nice on the second row, despite of course not having massage, for example. Also here we have some nominal regulation of the backrest, but this regulation is very stupid, because when you put it to the front position, it's just impossible to sit here. We also have the electric adjustment of the headrest, which is very not typical for the second row of most of cars. And so it's like that. I don't feel like a VIP person. I feel just like in an old-fashioned SUV with very good finishing in the trim of this car. And by the way, if I'm not mistaken, the deluxe version has here the 15.7-inch screens. I think 2 screens for both passengers, but in the off-road version, we basically cannot order it at all. The trunk here is actually one of the most nice trunks I've ever seen. First of all, the finishing is extremely nice. Here we have the wood trim, here we have the Napa leather. Unfortunately, for some reason, we do not have the servo drive of this extremely large door, and for this price, it actually could be here. This carpet is very nice. Under the floor, we have some niche for some basic accessories. Actually, this car has a lot of accessories. These are the fragrance system, this is the microphone system, this is some charger, and also we have in other car the rest of accessories. Here we have the block of steering of the rear seats, and we can fold them electrically from this place. Actually, it's a little bit slower than, for example, in Denza Z9 GT. But as you see, we have the flat floor. It all takes about 20 seconds or something, and this trunk space is enormous. Without folding the seats, it's more than 1,000 liters, but with folding, it's already 2,000 liters. Here we also have the 2.2 kilowatt 220 volt socket. Here we have the subwoofer. Here we have the one more 12 volt socket. And by default, we have the curtain included from the factory. It's just now in the other car. From the quality of how everything made, of course, we see it's premium car. For example, this is stainless steel. Looks like some handmade, handcraft part of stainless steel. Here we have stainless steel again. This all is just plastic, but look at these door hinges. They are, of course, massive, but the quality of finishing of this door, just look closer, honestly for me is a little bit not understandable as for the car for this price. They look like just a cheap tooling from a Chinese factory for $20-30. Now we talk about the battery of this car. It's 49 point something kilowatt hours BYD Blade battery, 800 volt platform, and actually in off-road version this battery has range 120 kilometers by CLTC pure electric range, and in the deluxe version it has 180 kilometers by pure electric CLTC range. And I don't understand why here with same battery the range is so significantly lower, smaller. Maybe because this car is a little bit heavier, maybe because we have the roof rack which works the aerodynamics. I have no idea. Maybe because the gear ratio in these motors are a little bit different, because the top speed of this car is lower than the deluxe version. Here is only 180 kilometers per hour, but in the deluxe version it's 200 kilometers per hour. So the gear ratio probably here for the off-road version made lower, and the energy consumption is higher, but at the same time the acceleration from 0 to 100 here is a little bit worse than the deluxe version. It's just 3.6 seconds. In deluxe version I think it's 3.3 seconds. So this result of CLTC pure electric range is a great surprise for me and a great mystery. At the same time, we have the charging ports here, 800 volts platform, but the DC charging is not so actually big. It's 110 or 120 kilowatts, which is more than enough for this not very big battery. And we have the AC port with just single phase charging up to 7 kilowatts, which is also surprising for me, because some quite cheap or budget cars from BYD, such as BYD Han for example, in some version had 3-phase charging up to 11 kilowatts, and here for this extremely high price we have just 7 kilowatts. This is a mystery for me, and all the cars have by default 6 kilowatt power of V2L system. Now it's time to talk about the ground clearance and suspension. Suspension is same Union P hydraulic adjustable suspension like in Leopard 5. Here we have the frame, which looks very, very powerful, very strong. Here we have many things totally open, like these electrical joints, which I would not risk to put into water. There are a lot of things actually open as well in this part of the car, and for example here as well. So basically, as for me, it doesn't look some specially protected from water, but at the same time many things here covered in some substance. Probably it is protection from rust or from water, or I don't know from what. Everything here is covered, and I've never seen it in a factory car before. Here we have the massive lower level. The upper level is a double wishbone suspension, traditional for the frame-based SUV. This ball bearing is not exchangeable. The ground clearance under the lowest part of the body, this protection of the front subframe, is 271 millimeters, same as it is shown in the APP on the car. Under the battery, the ground clearance is much bigger. It's about 320 millimeters. In some places it's 328. So everything here is very good for an off-roader. The RTI index here is 600, which is very good for the standard factory modification of the car. Here we have all these spheres for the hydraulic suspension. Here is probably the hydraulic pump. Everything is protected by these tubes. And let's go to the back part of the car, which is also interesting. Here we have the protection of the motor block. Here we have the muffler. Everything here is covered in another white substance, as you see, so probably it's protected from water or something. I've never seen it before. Here we have the massive levers, the massive drive shafts. Here you have the keys for the trailer hawk, which is optional, 2,500 kg. Now it's time to perform a short test drive. This car is sold to our buyer. It's brand new, but at the same time I really need to go to the petrol station to add some petrol, because from factory we have maybe 2-3 liters in the tank. So we will have a very mild test drive in a very mild attitude to this car. Let's start. Now we are driving BYD Yangwang U8, and to be honest, I am very much surprised with several things of this car. First of all, let's start from something good. The sound insulation in Leopard 5 was very good, but here it's insane. Here we don't hear almost anything which is going on outside from the outside of this car. Also, we have the sport mode in the suspension, where the rolling of the car is almost eliminated to zero. At the same time, every moment you feel that this is a huge car. In driving mode, in Sport Plus mode, this is incredibly fast car. We will just do now a mild acceleration from these traffic lights, and you will see how fast it is. But at the same time, we feel that this mud terrain, actually all-terrain tires, are completely not suitable for any fast driving or for any comfortable driving on the tarmac, because basically I feel each of these teeth of the rubber, which is very messy when they drive on the normal tarmac. But the worst thing in this car is actually how I hear and I feel the suspension working. On every bump I feel these not suspended masses, I feel how they work, I feel how they're hitting, and it's incredibly feelable. It's 100 times more feelable than in Leopard 5, and basically this car is felt like a commercial van. For example, like you're driving an Iveco daily with a beam in the front, with a normal bridge in the rear. No refined driving, no refined suspension at all, and compared to Leopard 5, in my opinion, it's 10 times worse. Even here I feel the vibrations of these not suspended parts of the car chassis. It's something totally incredible. Even on these parts I hear it. So the car is about 700 kilograms weights more than Leopard 5, and I feel this in basically every movement of the car. This car can be compared with a commercial van or commercial truck with a full mass, same as this car, about 3.5 tons. Every bumps make the body just vibrating, just shaking, just shocking and hitting. I'm completely surprised of how bad this car drives in terms of city in my way, despite in my opinion. Despite in this particular car we have about 4 bars in each wheel, which is of course maybe too much. It should be about 2.5 or 3, but nevertheless this is not the right behavior of such advanced hydraulic suspension. Now we will go to the petrol station to tank this car. Now we are tanking this monster. By the technical specification the tank volume is 75 liters. I will use the 95 petrol, but actually here the 92 is recommended. I will add full tank and we will see how many liters can go into this tank. By the way, the price of the petrol for today in China, today we have the 4th of January, is 7.94 RMB. It's about 1.1 United States dollars, and the quality of petrol in China is extremely good. For some reason we were able to tank only 58 liters, but I'm sure that in the tank it was before not more than 5 liters. So I don't know why it's not about 70 liters. I have any idea. Even these small bumpy roads like here, which is very far from the off-road for which this car is actually done, makes me feel how this car deals with them completely uncomfortable. At the same time, of course, it's fast. In the sport mode of the Union suspension we almost don't have rolling. In the comfort mode it's a little bit more, but the car, how it follows the steering wheel, is much worse than the Leopard 5, probably because of the much bigger weight, probably because of worse adjustment of the suspension. Yeah, I haven't made the long test of this car, of course I don't have this option, but from the 10-15 minutes of driving I must say this is not a well-refined car. Friends, it is surprised, but even the brakes I totally don't like how it's adjusted. First of all, this car is a yacht. Yeah, it's not the well-steered Leopard 5, and when I apply brakes I don't feel they are sufficient for this car. Maybe it's just the matter of the electronically adjusted power brakes, but it's not like in Leopard 5. I just feel the feeling they are not enough. If they enough or not, I don't know. It can be only find out at the tests. And when I brake and do this, I just feel that I'm driving in some jelly. Maybe of course this is because of the 80 wheels, but on the tarmac this car is completely awful. To say in 2 words, I'm deeply disappointed with this car. First of all, I didn't like how this suspension works. It works like in a commercial van. I used to drive Iveco daily for several days with beam in front, with bridge in the rear. This is approximately same. When this car meets some bumps on the roads, not very big bumps, you just feel how suspension works even on the armrest on the interior of this car. By the way, the interior of this car is also completely not acceptable in my opinion for this price range. The interior of Denza Z9 GT, which is 3 times cheaper, is much better. Also, the brakes and the steering wheel at least adjusted in not the best way for sure. Compared to this car, which is perfectly refined, which gives you fun from driving, and which remained me wanting to drive this car for maybe every day and for whole life, this is something on the contrary. This car I would not choose for myself under any circumstances. Maybe it's very good on the off-road, maybe it's very reliable, and maybe this car couldn't be made better handling and driving with the carb weight of 3.5 tons. Anyway, this car is a disappointing for me, and basically I think maybe it's because this is the first product from a light and premium range of BYD. Now they make these cars, they make Denza, which are much cheaper, more refined, better quality inside, and so on. Nevertheless, we can export this car to you. This car has English system from the factory. We can add some add-ons and accessories to this car directly here in China. We can add the chassis protection, we can add the tent if you want, the trailer hook, etc. Also, there are used options already from 2023 from the deluxe version, which are much more cheaper than this car. But for the new car, in this case, about $160,000 is not really understandable for me what we pay them for. Please leave the comment, hit the like button, push the bell, subscribe to my channel, and just tell me if you like this video or not, if you would like to purchase the U8 for personal use. My name is Dennis, and thank you very much for watching my videos.